Alright, what's up? We have a new chapter of Kaiji, chapter 302, Kyogen, which I see down here in a translation note is a farce presented between no plays or during the interlude of a no play. I assume this means it's referring to Kaiji's elaborate story, trying to tell his mother what happened to him over the years since they last saw each other, trying to omit details such that his mother won't be terrified and confused and upset, but not so many that she won't believe it anymore. A very fine balancing act that so far has been going like horribly, kind of like a flop down failure. Now he moves into trying to explain one poker. The last chapter had a dizzying sequence of images, flashbacks to all of the nail biting hands. Nail biting hands sounds kind of strange, but you know what I mean. The hands that were real nail biters. Hands being, of course, poker hands here, and not like your hands that have nails. Anyways, yeah, I wonder, like, is he going to try to explain the fact that he has a ton of money now? Is that going to come into it? Is he going to try to weave in some excuse for why he needs his seal? And where is he going to leave it with the fact that there are people bugging her house and staking it out, necessitating him doing all of these strange behaviors in the first place? I don't know. And it should be pointed out again that they're just hanging out in the bathroom. This is where the entire conversation is taking place. A full hour now since Kaiji returned to his mother's home. The Basai discussion has also reached its climax, the conveyance of the final gamble. Now enters the explanation of one poker. See, the way it's narrated like this, I was talking about this last chapter, that it's like definitely a thing. It's like a thing for Fukumoto. This idea of how to properly tell the story and such. Which is very funny to me because it's very different than like any other Fukumoto type thing. So how is he going to explain it? How is he going to break it down? In the way this conveyance of the final gamble is the final gamble itself. So how will he summarize it? Railroad tracks. He remembers these two images of Mother Sophie going back and forth along the tracks in Fukumoto's what the heck? His name just completely fell out of my memory. Kazuya's gambling arena. I love the expressions of the Asian trio cheering as it shoves backwards in Kazuya's direction, and Kazuya laughing manically and everyone else shocked as it goes back in Kaiji's direction. It does actually make it seem like just some harmless childhood fun and not a life or death gamble. So if Kaiji can get across that feeling to his mother, maybe she can kind of understand. Railroad tracks. Come up with a way to explain it so you can understand. Okay. The job I was doing was laying down railroad tracks. It's actually just deciding who had the rights to lay down these railroad tracks. Okay, alright. Because this is difficult too, because he's already hesitated so much to explain to his mother what his so-called company was doing, that if he says something too simple, like that too will be kind of unbelievable. Like, why did it take you so long just to say railroad tracks? So it has to be a little confusing still, you know, to justify his hesitation. A property developer? What? A developed wrapper of other people's property? This is a perfect panel for Fukumoto out of context. I cannot begin to describe how much I would love to see an entire series about this hypothetical rapper Kaiji and his little pot belly and tracksuit and chain and microphone, and I think he's wearing a ring, and everything else about him is so wonderful and lovely. I just thought of something too. He can't actually take these gloves off. Of course, he put them on so he could easily display these messages to his mother and such. But if he ever took them off and she saw the scars around all of his fingers, where his fingers got straight up chopped off, I think the jig would be up, so to speak. I'd come up with my own songs if I did that. Property developer. I don't really understand this joke, though. It probably makes more sense in Japanese, but whatever. Someone who claims of residential land gets a little tax-y. These dumb puns. Shoutouts to Fukumoto Kaiji. I'm sure this was not easy to translate in any sort of sensible way. Making taxi cabs. Oh, I don't know. I think at some point he should just be like, yep, taxi cabs. Yeah, you got it. Railroad tracks, taxi cabs, whatever. We did it. We plopped down some railroad tracks to build a station in a place that used to be just an empty field. We build a new place for people to build their houses and futures in. Price of the land you bought for Jerk Deep goes boom, and that's your huge profit. Right, right. Yeah, this is property development. This is how it works. This is what I assume the series Gin Tokin, Silver and Gold, is about. The other Fukumoto series that ran kind of concurrently with the early parts of Akagi and Ten, like a real Fukumoto classic. I haven't read much of it, and what I did read was kind of overwhelming. At some point, I'd like to return to it, though. But I think it involves a lot of stuff like this, like big money investment type gambles, and much less gambles on games of dice and card and tile. Sounds interesting. Actually, not that big a deal. It's normal, totally normal. Get consulted to take over responsibility for it. Move to where it's going to happen, make negotiations with the landlord, and bid on it. I move in my personnel. These statues. Yes, this is my army. I suppose this is all kind of analogous to what a property developer does, except that there isn't usually an actual force of antagonism in property development. Usually everyone is kind of on the same team, unless, of course, they want you to develop somewhere else because they have some vested interest in some other plot of land. But, no one is gonna stop you just for the sake of stopping you, right? I think. I don't know. He's a stubborn landlord, yes. Kazuya, I suppose, is a stubborn landlord. Even more men. Doing that made my opponent back down and give up some points. Bids I made wound up easily bringing the deal to a close sometimes, too. Fun. We remember these moments. I remember this one of Kazuya slamming down the fold button with his chin while still clutching the other lives that he wanted to go in on. Fun times. Doing that, just let me slowly but surely gain all the rights to all the land. Town development. Kaiji built a town, I guess, apparently. Or this is what he wants to convince his mother of. Pretty amazing. Low-level elites, those guys are worth about 2 million yen in lifetime earnings. Now the analogy has a very direct point of comparison. I suppose in some ways you could say, if you claim ownership of a town, and someone lives, works, and shops there their entire life, such that all the money they earn and spend is just circulated within that town, you kind of, in some way, I suppose, own the 200 million yen of their lifetime earnings. Sure. Feels like I did all of that for people on a life completely opposite of what the world expects of them. And then you just give you one property from there. Yes, that would be simple. The side dishes at your supermarket. Oh, those look so tasty. Oh, I miss being able to shop for food in Japan. Eating in Japan is so blissful. Really bad job to me. This, Kaiji, my son, is back on the righteous path. Ooh, and then immediately Kaiji thinks of Kazuya falling to his possible death. Of Kaiji falling away and believing that he was going to die. And I mean, here, Kaiji, of course, committed an act of totally inspirational self-sacrifice and heroism to save Kazuya, the man who was just trying to kill him hours before. So more than anything, I would call that the righteous path. So I'd like to see Kaiji gracefully accept this compliment, even if it's from a mother who does not at all accurately understand what he's been doing and what's happened to him. Oh, during that job, I wound up doing something dishonorable too. Ooh. Ooh. Is he thinking of the cheating? Of the mutual cheating situation? Or I don't know. It's a different trader who wanted to move from point A to point C. That trader was the same guy who gave me the loan in my last job. Ooh, ooh, so she now, I think, can really understand the full subtleties and the real kind of awkward complexity of Kaiji's relationship with Kazuya. He was first a benefactor, and then he became a rival, an enemy. Interesting. Him and I are doing the same sort of thing. Honestly, the story that he's making up and telling, this sounds pretty interesting too. The idea of Kaiji being this property developer that ends up in a feud with another property developer, but he owes that property developer something from a long time ago. Yeah, that's a plot. That could be a manga. Just make another Kaiji spinoff, alternate universe Kaiji spinoff. The story he tells his mom is real. let's find out. Bring it to a close by talking it over. Ooh. He thinks now back to the Idiots in Helmets arc, of the betrayal, of the most heinous betrayal imaginable, and seeing his future comrades having their heads crushed. And Kazuya's smug, self-assured smile. Kaiji, why don't you pay? Oh. Oh man. Can you imagine how difficult this is for Kaiji to try to lie calmly and convincingly to his mother while these images from earlier in the same night are replaying so vividly in his head? Like, I'm having a hard time keeping it together, and I'm just looking at pictures on the internet. I'm in the safety and comfort of my home by myself. Man, the mental fortitude of Kaiji. We think of him as this moe, blubbering and crying guy that he's always, his eyes turning into fried eggs and snot pouring down, and it happens, quite a few times per arc. But in the end, he can really keep it together. That he's able to do this much after this night. Oh, this is good. The textless recreations of the arc is really cool. That must have been an interesting process for Fukumoto, to go back and to pull out these key panels to kind of make new montage pages of existing panels. This is pretty cool. Montage? No, that's not quite right. That implies like a temporal element. Collage, I guess, is what I'm saying. And of course, Kaiji's date with death, trying to stop the rotating blade of support underneath. What a crazy arc. And of course, Mario and Chang's huge sacrifice, putting it all on the line. Their red lives too. The helmet's back on. But it was all worth it. It was all worth it. There was no talking that over. I wonder, though. I wonder how it stands between them now. I hope we get to find out at some point. I've been talking a little bit about the kind of end game of this series. Like, what more can we expect to see from Kaiji? And in a lot of ways, this mother explanation arc feels like a very suitable retrospective kind of nostalgia type thing that would occur near the end of the series. So more and more, I'm kind of feeling convinced that Kaiji could be ending sooner than later. But I would like to see Kazuya again. I would like to see how he feels about Kaiji saving him. What he felt when he woke up still alive. And see if maybe they could talk it over. See if maybe they could actually come to understand each other in a time of peace. Screw him over or be screwed over. We were never able to understand each other from the start. Definitely not when we were in the heat of the fight. Just give it back to him. Give the railroad line back to him. Easy. Nice little mental image. I didn't talk about it before, but I kind of almost I'm gonna go back and look at them again. All of these diagrams of the railway being laid down and stuff, and the construction of the house and such. I was too caught up in the overall development of what was happening. But these are some awesome, rare Fukumoto panels of train tracks and houses being built, and I don't know. I just like these sort of things. I like the sort of details that Fukumoto focuses on. And Kurosawa had a ton of these too, specifically of construction. You could tell that Fukumoto has a soft spot for construction projects. I think of the collaborative effort that they take and kind of the complexity of the site that builds up. You know, he's all kind of about objects with like functional purposes, like this machine is the backhoe. It does this, this, and this, and when you start it, you got to do this, this, and this. Like, I don't know. He seems to have a real soft spot for detailing all of these things in his gambles. So I feel like in construction sites and stuff too, he's into it. Just this little panel within the speech bubble of Kaiji's mom, I think you can see a lot of the love that he has for a project like this. Look at these guys talking over here. Look at the way all the materials are stacked up. The way that there's people along the track doing other incidental work to secure it. Ah, it's lovely. It's lovely. It's lovely. If you have to go that far, you can just be a rapper. You don't have to make the deal. Yes, that's true. He could have ended at the 400 million. He could have left after Minefield Mahjong and just called it a night. You know? It was only because he was caught up in the momentum of it. When he went through with that new job and brought it to a close. So when it was me with my presentation. With who? With who? Yeah, that's a good question. He realizes that he maybe has not defined all of the roles properly in his story. Before I know, manager prospects? Sure. Put it properly, a machine. Whoa, I don't think she needed to hear all of this. This is just really gonna confuse her more. But I suppose, like I said before, there's some benefit in keeping her like a little confused. That sounds terrible. But, you know, it's better if she thinks of it as something really complicated, and thus it makes sense that maybe the explanation is a little spotty or inconsistent, because then she can just assume that, like, oh, I just don't get it. It's just like one of those things, you know? And a computer for a boss? Yeah, he did have a computer for a boss. All right, Kaiji is beginning to look like quite the entrepreneur. I suppose he is. I really would like to see this alternate universe spin-off Kaiji, of Kaiji actually doing the things he told his mother he was doing. That would be a lot of fun. Anyways, that's all for now. Good on you, Fukumoto Crazy, for translating all of those puns. I will look forward to the next chapter. All right, bye-bye.